Gimme, gimme more, gimme more, gimme more, gimme more, gimme some more. Let's see some more. Kia ora everybody, thanks for joining me on Outdoors with Some. Here we are again for yet another tier list, and today we're going to be ranking more, the most powerful. Okay, so I'm sure that many of you have heard of more before. If you haven't, where have you been? They are the giant, extinct, flightless, absolutely iconic bird that could reach over 3 meters tall. But that's only one page in the very extensive book of moa. Yes, in fact, there were 9 different species of moa, and not all of them were giants. Many had their own quirks, their own adaptations, their own ingenious designs for life here in Aotearoa. Some liked to go to the beach. Some had funky feathers. Some were the giants you've heard of, others were only the size of turkeys. And today we're going to be ranking them all in a simple tier list to find out who was the most powerful moa
of all time.
If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you'd like to support me and subscribe or like the video or share it with some of your friends, please feel free so that I can continue to make ridiculous tier lists about animals that I love and fuel my obsession for zoology. The tier list. One more to rule them all. Did you get that reference? Yes, today, because we're working with an iconic New Zealand bird, I thought we'd better choose some other iconic New Zealand culture to give us our tier list. The Lord of the Rings. And I don't know about you, but I can definitely imagine some more roaming around Middle-earth. Okay, the tiers. More are known for their size and their strength and their power, but they're also unfortunately known for being one of the last megafauna on Earth to go extinct. Pretty much exclusively because of overhunting by humans, which probably only happened as few as 600 years ago and within a time frame of only about 200 years. And we're not proud of it. So a top tier moa to me is one that's big, powerful, or maybe it's got a special trick up its sleeve, an evolutionary adaptation or something like that, that allowed it to avoid hunting from humans for a little bit longer than other species. So at the top of the tier, who's the most powerful in Middle-earth? The wizards, yes. The Maiar. Gandalf tier. Moa in this tier are most powerful. Moving down, we've got elves. Elves are strong, they're wise, they're magical, but they do have one fatal flaw, one little Achilles heel, one Legolas heel. They are pretty snooty. More in this tier maybe have the whole package, but potentially have some kind of flaw that's bringing them down. Next, we have man. Fickle man, yes. I put human instead of man because, you know, inclusivity. Are we going to give men all the credit? No, we're not. Humans have power in their goodness and their evilness. They make good choices and they make bad choices. So a balance of might and incompetence, if you will. Next down we've got dwarves. Dwarves have a lot of shortcomings. They are stubborn, and there's also not very many of them left. But they are still powerful in their own way. Then down the bottom we've got hobbits. I'm not here for the hobbit hate. Hobbits definitely have power in their own wee way. But it's just that if you were to pit them against any of the other creatures in this tier list, I mean, these more are not going to be able to stand for long. First into the battlefield, we've got the little bush moa. Okay, let's get the body proportions in. So the little bush moa was 50 to 90 centimeters long. But here's the interesting thing, the weight, 26 to 64 kilograms. Yeah, that's about the same as a turkey. You're trying to tell me that this is a moa? That's tiny. They probably would have been measured like this, with their neck stretched out, because people weren't really sure if they walked along like this, that's the body, or like this. But scientists are starting to think that it's probably the latter. It lived in the wet rainforest and was probably able to be hunted by some of the larger hawks like the Isles Harrier that used to be here, and definitely the Haast eagle, which had a 3-meter wingspan and weighed about 17 kilograms. These were also probably the most widespread and the most abundant of the moa, so definitely little peasants if you ask me. Really cute, but not much power unfortunately. Next up we have the heavy-footed moa. Now this is a moa, okay? Almost as tall as an emperor penguin, but the interesting thing about this one is the weight. This is the heaviest compared to the height of the moa species. 73 to 163 kilograms. So the reason why there's such a big difference in the weights of these birds is because females were usually double the size of the males. The heaviest, the shaggiest, had really thick legs like an elephant. Apparently it also had quite a good sense of smell to help it to navigate at nighttime. The only downfall of this moor is that it's not the biggest one to have ever lived, so I can't really justify putting him in the wizard tier, so I'm gonna go elf. Next up we've got the stout-legged moor. 52 to 103 centimeters, so more on the medium moor size. 12 to 109 kilograms. Okay, so remember how I said that in humans they have power in their good and their evil and their balance between those things. This is kind of reflective of this moor, because this moor ranges from 12 to 109 kilograms. That's a huge range in body size, and that's pretty powerful, because that means that you can live in a whole bunch of different environments. Up in the North Island, remains have been found in coastal regions, so it's a beach boy. And in the South Island, it's been found in grassy plains, so a grassy boy. These ones, like the heavy-footed moor, also had quite thick legs and wide feet, which made them quite slow-moving. So potentially a little bit easier to hunt, and given that they don't have a very big size, in some parts of New Zealand they would have been wiped out very, very quickly. This one feels like it's sitting quite a lot in the middle to me. So I think we're gonna go human. Now I think it's about time we got to the star of the show. I think you guys know what's coming. It is, of course, the South Island giant moa, the tallest bird to ever have existed. And I can only imagine what Māori would have thought when they first arrived here in Aotearoa and saw this absolute monster walking around in the forests. Weighing in at 34 to 249 kilograms and a length of 360 centimeters. Yep, 3.6 meters tall. That's taller than the tallest guy I've ever seen. And despite being quite large, they were actually quite widespread and abundant, but probably not as common as some of these other smaller moor species. Just because, can you imagine the amount of plants they would have had to eat? The only enemy that these birds had would have been the haast eagle. Aside from humans, that was the only thing that could take down this big bird. I think you know where this one's going. Top tier, wizard. Next up we have Mantell's moor. Let's get the proportions here. 54 centimeters long. Weak. 17 to 36 kilograms. Tiny. Here I was talking about little bush moor, and this guy rocks up 17 to 36 kilograms. That's nothing. So we've gone from the most powerful to the most pizzle. And there's not really much to talk about here, to be quite honest, because there's not a lot of research that's been done on this particular species. Except that they've found a lot of bones in midden remains. And midden remains basically are where people put the trash. So that means that they would have been hunted very extensively, and being that size, I'm sure they would have been very, very easy pickings. Mantell's moor. You poor little thing, you're going in Hobbit. Next up, we have the Eastern moor. 73 to 99 centimeters. Respectable. Weight 36 to 79 kilograms. Also respectable. So we're talking mid-range moor here for the Eastern moor. Now this one was also thought to be quite slow as well, because it had the widest set feet of any of the other moor species. So it was big, had a bit of power, a bit of weight, but probably quite slow. All of that extra weight looks extra tasty. Plus it didn't have a very sharp beak, it actually had quite a delicate beak for picking fruit and soft leaves, unlike some of the other moor which had to, you know, deal with quite tough plants. They were quite similar to the stout-legged moor, but not quite as big, so it only makes sense to put them in the tier below. Dwarf. Next up we have the upland moor. This is a cool one, you guys. I'm excited about this one, okay? Dimensions, 65 to 95 centimeters, 28 to 80 kilograms. Yeah, decent. And this one's cool because when I was reading about it, I think that it kind of sounds like it filled a similar niche as something like a goat would, because it could live at very, very high elevations, up to 2,000 meters above sea level. And it would only make sense to become a little bit more slender, a bit lighter, to be able to jump around up there. They also had long, slender toes, which might have been quite good for walking across snow. And they also had feathers all the way down to their ankles to keep their little feet nice and warm. Isn't that sweet? Plus it gets a bonus point for being the only species in the family Megalopterigidae. Very unique. Even though he's a little bit small, I think he's got a good balance of good points and bad points. Let's go human. Next up we have the North Island version of the South Island giant moa, the North Island giant moa, the analogous, the second born, the forgotten sibling. So they could get up to 300 centimeters long, 3 meters tall, yeah, and weigh between 34 and 242 kilograms. So just about as heavy as the South Island giant moa, a little bit shorter, and these ones were also a bit more long and gracile. So we've got long and slender, gracile, but also powerful. Very elvish, would you say? Okay, final moa. I saved one of the best ones for last, I think. We have the crested moa. This moa was a decent size, pretty powerful, up to 150 centimeters long, 1.5 meters tall, and weighing in at 44 to 90 kilograms. This one was also one that was pretty well adapted to living up in the mountains, just like our upland moa was. So bonus points for being able to escape from humans. And this one is cool because it has crests on top of its head. That's right. Now people haven't found more feathers to confirm this, but what they have found is little pockets in the skull that suggest that longer feathers grew out of there. What for? Who could say? So apparently the crested moa was the ecological equivalent of the heavy-footed moa. You remember the elephant moa? That super powerful boy? But this was the equivalent of one that lived up in the mountains, so it makes sense to be a little bit smaller, a little bit more graceful, but still having all of that raw elephant power. Now this moa is just sounding more and more unbeatable to me. And in fact, this is the only moa species whose bones haven't been found in midden remains. So, potentially, it was never hunted? Or was it just never brought home? That means that this might be the only moa species that avoided being hunted to extinction by humans. I think this one is worthy of wizard tier. Okay, brilliant. We've ranked all the moa. I knew that there were definitely more than just the one giant moa that we used to have, but I had no idea that they were so diverse. I hope you enjoyed learning about these iconic birds today. Did you agree with my tier list? Let me know down in the comments if you've got something to say about it. If you know anybody that would enjoy this video, please consider sharing it with them. And if you'd like to support me in making more videos like this, please do hit that subscribe button. Okay, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Hey, well done on reaching the end screen. Can I interest you in some more? We got giant snails, we got seals. What can I get you? Yes, excellent choice.